That thing would never protect you. It's downright puny.
Trust me, it's fine.
See? It is too small.
Not if I crouch down. I mean, you didn't even give me a chance to crouch down. See? Down here, I am perfectly
Exposed.
Would you two please stop throwing snowballs?
Get on with it!
The Puff Shroom is a short-range, straight-shot attacking plant that fires spores in a 1x3 area, recharges in 7.5 seconds, and costs a whopping 0 sun. In its home world, along with World 4, its purpose is as a starter plant that allows you to collect more sun without letting weak zombies leap. Either that, or use them to forgo the whole strategy thing, and proceed to cover the lawn with them, as Puff Shroom is the only reason you can beat the game without using sun producers. However, its utility in other worlds is limited by its unfortunately relatable sleep cycle. This means that without using a coffee bean, it can only act as a very weak damage sponge, not to mention its range being cut even shorter during World 5 because of the slant. Other notable uses of Puff Shroom include avoiding peas in Zombotnies 1 and 2, and its ability to infinitely stall a Gargantuar when paired with a Snow Pea and an Imitator Puff Shroom. The Sun Shroom is a sun producer that costs 25 sun, recharges in 7.5 seconds, and produces a varying amount of sun every 24 seconds. As I mentioned in my previous video, the Sun Shroom is simply a stand-in for the Sunflower during World 2, as its lower sun cost is more useful than the Sunflower's immediate utility. In its home world, along with World 4, it functions very similarly to Sunflower, with its lower sun cost being a trade-off for low early sun production. In other worlds, there isn't really a good reason to use it because it ends up costing twice as much as a Sunflower and having less reliable sun production. The Fume Shroom is a straight-shot attacking plant that sprays fumes in a 1x4 area, recharges in 7.5 seconds, and costs 75 sun. The Fume Shroom is a bit of a double-edged sword, at least to me. Its lower sun cost means it can be placed en masse faster than other plants around its caliber, and its ability to pierce is invaluable, obviously for shielded zombies like Screen Door Zombie, Ladder Zombie, and Trash Can Zombie, but also for larger groups of weak zombies that would easily overwhelm assumedly stronger plants. However, since its range is lower than average, you'll be forced to place them close to the front lines, which means they'll be in the most danger of all your offensive lineup, which sucks because its utility is undeniable when compared to its sun cost and recharge. Needless to say, Fume Shroom is usually the first domino to fall when things go pear-shaped, especially in Survival Endless, where they just fill the screen with zombies. Gravebuster is an environment modifier plant that recharges in 7.5 seconds, costs 75 sun, and destroys one gravestone in 5 seconds. This plant is difficult to review as it serves one purpose in one world, but since I need to say something, it's not really that helpful in adventure mode since graves don't usually spawn that far left on the lawn, and you can usually just nuke the last wave with Doom Shroom anyway. However, it can also be used to destroy the gravestones used by the zombie player in Versus mode, but again, that's just Versus mode. Hypnoshroom is a single-use plant that recharges in 30 seconds, costs 75 sun, and hypnotizes the zombie that eats it. Approaching a review for Hypnoshroom objectively is difficult, because the community has pretty much made up their mind about the correct opinion you're supposed to have about this thing, but we're doing it anyway, so here we go. It can be used to counter a handful of zombies that would otherwise pose a decent threat, and it is plenty useful to have these fighting for you instead of against you, but most of these zombies can be easily dealt with by any instant kill. Other than that, it struggles in crowds, because if the zombies are close enough together, you won't be able to control which zombie actually gets hypnotized. And even if you wait for the weaker ones to die first, Most of the non-special zombies will have taken significant damage already, making a hypnotized zombie much less useful as a shield, especially considering it's just going to turn around and get immediately mobbed by a group of weaker zombies that it was previously a damage sponge for and it devoured anyway. Scaredy Shroom is a straight-shot attacking plant that fires spores in a similar manner to a pea shooter, recharges in 7.5 seconds, and costs 25 sun. Scaredy Shroom is basically just a pea shooter, adjusted for nighttime. By that, I mean it has a much lower sun cost to make up for the generally lower sun production during night levels, which is a huge plus, but also hides and refuses to fire if a zombie gets within a 3x3 area around it, which only kind of sucks, because any good player will keep that in mind and make especially sure that they will never cross paths. But, as is the folly of most mushrooms, it's outclassed entirely by other daytime plants due to its reliance on coffee bean, with one exception. In Versus mode, the sun cost of coffee bean was reduced to 25 sun, which means you can effectively place a pea shooter for half the price, which allows you to very quickly build offensive momentum and threaten the zombie's brain economy earlier than with most other strategies, and with Magnet Shroom on top of that, a skilled player can easily overwhelm an unprepared opponent. Ice Shroom is a single-use support plant that costs 75 sun, recharges in 50 seconds, and instantly freezes and does 20 damage to all zombies on screen, barring those that have immunity. As a stalling plant, it excels at preemptively lessening disaster situations and letting the player gain offensive momentum by giving you more time for your other instant uses to recharge, as well as maybe having enough time to improve your lawn's permanent defenses. However, it does struggle during the daytime, like all other mushrooms, due to its reliance on coffee bean increasing its effective sun cost as well as its startup time from coffee bean's animation. Interestingly, one can actually time the placement of an ice shroom to match when ambush zombies would appear in order to prevent them from doing so. Overall, Ice Shroom is kind of overkill in adventure mode, but invaluable in survival endless. Doom Shroom is a single-use explosive plant that costs 125 sun, recharges in 50 seconds, and explodes in a 7x5 radius on land, 7x6 radius on the pool, and leaves a crater that lasts for 3 minutes. I have no idea how this one made it past QA testing without being toned way the fuck down, because Doom Shroom is ridiculous. It costs only 25 more sun than a pea shooter would, and can easily wipe out an entire wave instantly if placed correctly. No real notes other than it being more expensive and having a higher startup time during the day, along with being similar to Ice Shroom in that it is way overkill in adventure mode, but a staple in survival endless. Also OP in versus mode.